Have you a private room, please?
Of course, sir. Through there, sir. Hope this will do, Mr. De Winter.
Oh, splendid. Splendid. Exactly like the Ritz.
Any orders, gents?
Yes, you might bring me a large brandy and soda. How about you, Max? Have one on me. I feel I can afford to play host.
Thanks, I don't mind if I do.
Make it two, will you, like a good fellow?
Very good, sir.
Where's Mr. De Winter?
Through the other door, sir.
Colonel Julian, this is Mr. Fabel.
Oh, I know Colonel Julian. We're old friends, aren't we?
Well, since you're old friends, I assume you also know he's head of the police here. I think he might be interested to hear your proposition. Go on, tell him all about it.
I don't know what you mean. I merely said I hope to give up selling cars and retire into the country.
Actually, he offered to withhold a vital piece of evidence from the inquest if I made it worth his while.
I only want to see justice done, Colonel. Now, that boat builder's evidence suggested certain possible theories concerning Rebecca's death. One of them, of course, is suicide. Now, I have a little note here which I consider puts that possibility quite out of court. Read it, Colonel.
Jack, darling, I've just seen the doctor and I'm going down to Mandalay right away. I shall be at the cottage all this evening and shall leave the door open for you. I have something terribly important to tell you. Rebecca.
Now, does that look like the note of a woman who had made up her mind to kill herself? And apart from that, Colonel, do you mean to tell me that if you wanted to commit suicide, you'd go to all the trouble of putting out to sea in a boat and then take a hammer and chisel and laboriously knock holes through the bottom of it? Come, Colonel, as an officer of the law, don't you feel there are some slight grounds for suspicion?
Of murder?
What else? You've known Max a long time, so you know he's the old-fashioned type, who'd die to defend his honor, or who'd kill for it.
It's blackmail. Pure and simple.
Yes, blackmail is not so pure, nor so simple. It can bring a lot of trouble to a great many people. And the blackmailer sometimes finds himself in jail at the end of it.
Oh, I see. You're going to hold De Winter's hand through all this. Just because he's the big noise around here, and he's actually permitted you to dine with him.
Be careful, Fabel. You brought an accusation of murder. Have you any witnesses?
Oh, I do have a witness.
Oh.
It's that fellow Ben. That stupid coroner hadn't been as much of a snob as you are. He'd have seen that halfwit was hiding something.
And why should Ben do that?
Because we caught him once, Rebecca and I, peering at us through the cottage window. Rebecca threatened him with the asylum. That's why he was afraid to speak. But he was always hanging about. He must have seen this whole thing.
It's ridiculous even listening to all this.
You're like a little trades union, all of you, aren't you? And if my guess is right, Crawley, there's a bit of malice in your soul toward me, isn't there? Crawley didn't have much success with Rebecca. But he ought to have more luck this time. And the bride will be grateful for your fraternal arm, Crawley, in a week or so. Every time she faints, in fact.
De Winter!
Maxim, please.
That temper of yours will do you in yet, Max.